Hey guys, it's Drew here, and I wanted to make a quick little video on how to make cordage with Spanish moss. If you live in Florida or parts of South Carolina, Texas, Louisiana, here in the South, you'll find Spanish moss growing all over. For example, here in this dead mulberry tree, there's a whole bunch, and then the oak trees, it's everywhere. But I'm going to show you how to make simple cordage with Spanish moss, and there's two different types. To be super specific, you have the natural Spanish moss, which looks like what's here on my wrist, and that's what this is. And then you have what I like to call the naturally retted Spanish moss, which looks a lot more like this. And it's essentially the inner part of the Spanish moss plant, and it's much more like hair, coarse hair, while this is will be a lot softer, and also will tend to break a little bit easier, just because when you braid it, a lot of the outer part of the Spanish moss is gonna break off, and your braid's gonna be looser. But it's still just a fun craft, and especially it just looks interesting and it's fun to do, but it does have a whole bunch of uses. I use Spanish moss cordage in the garden to tie up plants and all kinds of stuff. But so what I'm going to show you today is specifically how to make the cordage out of this retted Spanish moss. Alright, so we got our loose, naturally retted Spanish moss here. You just want to get any twigs or anything like that out. You don't have to worry about bugs too much. Sometimes you'll get bugs, but the whole Spanish moss is filled with chiggers, little biting bugs. It's not usually the case in my experience. But you want to separate it into some like longer pieces. This is what I do. Separate it into some loose, longer pieces. They don't have to be even, they don't have to be perfect. Just kind of link them up together. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect at all. I just kind of get them all entangled with one another. Now you can do a couple of different things. What I like to do is just give it a good palm roll. Just starts to get it twisted. Okay, so you're getting much more a intact one piece. And now you could use just this by itself. It's actually relatively strong. But what I'm going to do is just twist it here in the middle of the piece. Twist it, twist it. Each hand is just going in an opposing direction, like this. And then you'll quickly form a little loop here. And you just continue that twist. Twist, twist. Now what you can do is you can just keep on going and twisting, and it'll naturally start forming the cordage. Or, as a lot of people do, is you can twist it, grab a hold of your cordage, and then just twist one piece and rotate. Twist the other piece and then rotate. Twist the other piece, rotate, and you keep doing this. I'll try to go a little faster for you. But you just keep on doing this, and before you know it, you have some decently strong cordage. You could do all kinds of stuff with this, all kinds of crafts, all types of garden uses. You can make wreaths out of this. You could do all sorts of stuff. Historically, they did a lot of different stuff with the Spanish moss. They made robes, and even if you go all the way back to the native peoples here in the south, the Timucua, they would use this a lot for clothing, which is really cool. In the Civil War, they used the Spanish moss to braid horse blankets to go underneath saddles. You could probably saturate this in beeswax, become waterproof, or any type of wax. You can make torches with this, like little torch wicks. All sorts of stuff. And this is good to know, just to have this skill if you like to go out hiking a lot, especially in the south. You'll know that you can make some decent cordage with something that's really available to you. And it's probably in your backyard. If you use Spanish moss or anything and you're watching this video, please comment down below. I'd love to know what you do with it. Just keep on twisting. Keep on twisting. This has a very hair-like structure to it, and I believe you could do all kinds of stuff with this. You could probably even, if you know how to dread hair, you could probably do that with this and make a really tight form of cordage, I guess. You do all sorts of stuff. So here we go. It's a nice tight, I hope that's being picked up well. It's a nice piece of cordage. It's got some structure to it. You can really try to braid this stuff, and it's pretty strong, as you can see. It's good stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and hope you experiment and make some things with Spanish moss.